Welcome to Law You Should Know. The law affects every aspect of our lives, our home, our jobs, and our recreational activities. Now you can learn about the law and how to protect yourself against the loss of your liberty or property. Learn how to stand up for your rights and seek compensation when you have been wronged. Your host for Law You Should Know is attorney Kenneth J. Landau with the Mineola law firm of Shane, Dox, Denisi, and Corker. He's a member of the Committee on Professional Ethics of the Bar Association of Nassau County and counsel to the Nassau Academy of Law. And now, here is your host for Law You Should Know, attorney Kenneth J. Landau.
Hi, this is Ken Landau, and welcome to Law You Should Know. We are honored today to interview the president of the American Bar Association, that's the nationwide association of lawyers, and Bob Carlson will talk about the work of the ABA in the past, the present, and the future. Bob, welcome to Law You Should Know.
Hey, thanks, Ken, for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
And we do as well. And so tell us about the ABA, its histories, the origins, and purpose.
Well, the ABA was founded over 140 years ago in 1878. It has more than 400,000 members. It's one of the world's largest voluntary professional membership organizations, and it serves as the national voice of the legal profession. It works to improve the administration of justice, promotes programs that assist lawyers and judges in their work, accredits law schools, provides continuing legal education, and works to build public understanding around the world of the importance of the rule of law. And today we have probably 3,400 different committees, including our sections, divisions, and forums that do basically encompass every legal specialty, and our committees vary from public education to assisting state and local bars, to veterans, to disaster, to government affairs, to lawyer wellness. So we pretty much cover the entire field.
And anything else that you want to add about how it helps everyday Americans in New York and around the country, in places big and small?
Well, I think that, first of all, our slogan, which is defending liberty and pursuing justice, pretty much says what we do. Where there is injustice, we try to figure out ways to assist in righting the wrongs. We work hard to ensure that a due process and the right to counsel is there for all Americans facing legal perils. Where there is justice, we try to defend it, both here and abroad. For example, threats against the independence of not only our judiciary, but judiciaries around the world. Some of our sections and programs provide direct services to clients, pro bono services in situations related to disaster. And as you know, the last 18 months, there's been a series of disasters all across America, and the ABA has been there to assist. We also work in areas of immigration, where our programs like ProBar and the Immigration Justice Project work on the border to assist people who are seeking asylum get the due process that they're entitled to by law.
And these are all important things to our democracy.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this what we do. Basically, there's nobody like the ABA. The ABA has the power to convene, to lead, to influence, and to impact the justice system and the rule of law. It brings lawyers together from all over the country to help people, give a voice to the voiceless, volunteer in times of need, and make sure that our Constitution and the rule of law are upheld.
And just tell us about your legal background.
Well, I have been practicing at this same firm. The names have changed, but basically it's the same basic firm since 1981. I graduated from law school in 1979 and clerked for the Montana Supreme Court and worked for the Department of Business Regulation for a short period of time, and then came home to Butte. I primarily do products liability defense and professional malpractice defense, some insurance coverage work. Our firm is a very small firm, 5 lawyers and 1 of counsel. We do still provide full service, whether it's transactional to our local clients, but I have a little bit more of a national practice.
And you told about some of the work of the ABA around the world. What are some of your own goals for the ABA?
Well, first of all, I think we need to continue to defend the rule of law and speak out wherever it's threatened, both at home and abroad. I think we need to work to defend judges from political attacks that threaten their ability to do their jobs, both here and abroad. I think we need to continue to work every day to help improve the profession, and we do this through a variety of offerings of CLEs. We are rolling out a new membership model that includes several hundred hours of free CLE or continuing legal education each year, and the greater exchange of information specific to individual practitioners and their particular specialties. And there's a place for everyone, whether it's a big city lawyer in a big firm or somebody like me in a more rural state that practices with 4 or 5 lawyers. We're there to help everybody.
And go ahead.
Our goal is to connect people who need help with lawyers. We focus on that during our pro bono week, and this year the focus was legal response to disasters. Our Young Lawyers Division has since 2007 responded to more than 180 declared disasters in 48 states and U.S. territories. That's volunteer boots on the ground to help people who have been the victims of natural disaster. Those include, most recently in December, we had 196 volunteer lawyers responded to help people who suffered from the effects of Hurricane Michael. These include legal issues surrounding landlord-tenant problems, FEMA claims, contractor fraud, etc. We had volunteer lawyers who responded to close to 400 hotline calls related to Hurricane Florence in North Carolina. Last year, in July, Hillary Bass, my predecessor, and I traveled to the U.S. Virgin Islands and to Puerto Rico to meet with folks who are continuing to do pro bono efforts in those areas. And most recently, I went to Florida and North Carolina in early December to meet with our volunteers and also to get together with folks from FEMA, from the Red Cross, from the North Carolina and Florida Supreme Courts, from the law schools to continue to provide assistance and to encourage people to volunteer and continue to help out.
So you're part of that disaster response team?
Well, I'm at a very high level,
okay.
Yes. And I have in Florida last year, while I was there, we actually helped people do intake for making their FEMA claims in a Spanish-speaking library in downtown Miami. So I don't speak Spanish, but I had a nice volunteer helping, and we met with a few people and helped them get their claims started. So,
and just going back to your background at a small firm in a rural state, how does that offer you a perspective on what the ABA should do for small firm lawyers and solo practitioners?
Well, first of all, I think it gives me the perfect perspective. The ABA is a big tent. It has something for every person, every practitioner, whether solo to the largest firms. We offer resources that really, really assist solo practitioners and small firms and those lawyers just starting out, whether it's assisting them to get the right type of technology to run their law firm, whether it's assisting them to get the right help, whether forms or outlines or articles to assist them in their practice, regardless of type, whether it's litigation practice, transactional practice. We have a program called ABA Blueprint, which is both a technology-based program to help small firms compete with technology issues, and also provides them with substance-based information from 4 of our entities, including litigation, GP Solo, law practice division, and the Young Lawyers. And in our new membership model, part of the free benefit benefit that you get by becoming a member of the ABA is that you get access to all of the information from both GP Solo and law practice management, as well as significant access to the ethics opinions prepared by the Center for Professional Responsibility. So really, it is the gold standard for assisting lawyers across the country in practicing law.
And to help put solos and small firm lawyers on a level playing field with the attorneys from larger firms who have greater resources.
Exactly, and making sure that they not only have the tools to compete, but also that they have the tools to protect at an affordable cost to protect their clients' information while they're doing it.
And how else? How else does the ABA support our system of justice?
Well, there's a variety of ways. First of all, we have entities that work with respect to making sure that the law is applied fairly and equally and call attention to inequities. We have a death penalty due process review project that ensures the death penalty is carried out fairly and with due process rights for all defendants. We accredit law schools. So there are 200 ABA accredited law schools nationwide, and we review each one as an association to ensure that they meet our profession's highest standards. We're the leading authority on legal ethics and model rules. We develop the model rules of professional conduct, which by and large are adopted by the state licensing agencies nationwide. And we also assist by issuing formal ethics opinions to address questions that arise with respect to the rules. Finally,
go ahead.
We stand up for judicial independence. Where their independence is threatened, we use our national stature to defend the rule of law where those threats arise.
And what has the ABA done to preserve federal funding for legal aid nationwide, which is sometimes prone to be cut or reduced?
Well, we have a ABA Day, which started 20-some years ago, 22, I think, years ago, because of threats to legal aid. There was a move to totally defund the Legal Services Corporation. We consider legal aid funding as one of our number one priorities in Congress, and it's been that way for many years. We have lobbied year in and year out to continue to provide adequate funding to the Legal Service Corporation, which then in turn provides funding to various grantee organizations like Montana Legal Services and other states' legal services to assist people who can't afford a lawyer. We have ABA Day brings lawyers from all around the country, from literally every state, to come and speak to their senators and representatives about the importance of adequate funding of Legal Services Corporation. Most of them come paying their own way, taking time away from their practices. And like the ABA, they come from small firms like mine and from large firms. And they are the perfect example of all politics are local. So they come armed with facts and statistics about how legal service funding helps individuals in their home states. And that's a powerful message. Fortunately, last year, even though the White House had threatened to propose zero funding, we were able to, working with other legal organizations and with members of Congress, to secure funding and actually get an increase from $385 million to $410 million.
Okay.
That's
Bob,
not nearly enough.
Right.
To do this, to fund the huge demand for legal services, but we are continuing to work every day to make sure that that stays our number one priority and that we lobby Congress on a regular basis on that issue.
Okay. We have to take a short break now. When we return, we'll talk about how lawyers in the ABA makes up the gap by encouraging pro bono work by lawyers. You're listening to Law You Should Know here on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College in Garden City, New York, and also over the internet at ncc.edu. We'll be back in a moment.
This portion of programming on WHPC is brought to you on behalf of the Nassau County Bar Association, who wants you to know about ADR, Alternate Dispute Resolution, which can help you avoid costly, lengthy, and uncertain litigation in court. By resolving disputes through mediation or arbitration, it gives you control over who decides your case. A mediator helps all parties to reach an agreement they can live with, or an arbitrator selected by the parties hears and decides the case. Your attorney can still represent you, but you control who decides your case. ADR is faster and less stressful than fighting in court, and it is a great way to resolve divorce, employment, or commercial disputes. ADR is now offered through the Nassau County Bar Association. Find out more about how ADR can help resolve your dispute by calling 516-747-4070 or visit nassaubar.org.
Once again, we continue with Law You Should Know. From the Mineola Law Firm of Shane, Dox, Denise, Corker, and Sauer, here is attorney Kenneth J. Landau.
Hi, this is Ken Landau, and welcome back to Law You Should Know. If you have missed any portion of this interview, you can just find the podcast at nccradio.org. And we're interviewing Bob Carlson. He's the president of the American Bar Association, the nationwide organization for lawyers. And as he was mentioning before the break, ABA helps people in need and is also encouraging lawyers to provide additional services by performing work without charge, which is pro bono. And Bob, how is pro bono part of the solution to providing legal services to people in need?
Well, as we were discussing, legal services can only go so far, and we need individual lawyers to pitch in and help people out in need. It's part of our professional obligation. It's something that we learn and they continue to teach in law school. I learned it 40 years ago. We've continued to work on that year in and year out. For the last 25 years, the ABA Model Rule 6.1 sets an aspirational goal of at least 50 hours a year of pro bono service for every lawyer. And we work with the state and local bars to track that issue fairly closely and to survey and see how we're doing. And frankly, I think we're doing pretty good. And this is everyday legal services, whether it's assisting, as we talked about, disaster relief, whether it's assisting veterans get their benefits, whether it's assisting elderly, victims of domestic violence, anybody that just needs a lawyer and needs somebody to help them. And what I look at this as is it's not only helpful to the clients that we serve, but it's also rewarding to you as a lawyer. And the people that do pro bono work, they, to a person, say they get more out of it than they provide. They come away feeling like they've actually affected somebody's life in a positive fashion.
So it makes two lives better.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And sometimes multiples of that if you're dealing with families.
And we just have a limited time left in the program, but what does the ABA do to foster judicial independence in the U.S. and also to help legal systems around the world?
Okay, well, the ABA is the national voice of the legal profession, and we use that voice to defend judges and courts when their independence is threatened. We do that by speaking out at various functions, at various meetings of not only lawyers, but also the press and the Rotary clubs around and exchange clubs, et cetera, around the world. We issue statements to governments. We tweet. We try to use social media to protect judges, and we do that here, and we do that where asked in countries around the world where the rule of law is being threatened. An example here recently, the immigration courts, they're administered by the United States Department of Justice. They're directly accountable to the U.S. Attorney General. The ABA believes that federal judges should not have to answer to any law enforcement authority. We believe they should be independent. And earlier this year, we testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee urging Congress to create independent immigration courts. We also have an independent standing committee that vets federal judges to make sure that they are well qualified to take this position. And we look at it not from a political standpoint, but from the standpoint of whether or not they meet certain criteria with respect to judicial integrity, experience, and competence. And we've been vetting judges since President Eisenhower was president in the 50s, and we continue to do that every day. We believe it's everybody's right to agree or disagree with the court's decision, but we can't allow government officials to question a court's motives or mock its legitimacy or threaten retaliation due to an unfavorable ruling. When they do that, their intent is to erode the court's standing and hinder the courts from performing their constitutional duties. And in those places, the ABA does stand up to protect the rule of law. We also do it around the world with our Rule of Law initiative. We've operated in more than 100 countries in the past 25 years to support lawyers and judges, some in countries where the rule of law is relatively new, and some in countries where the rule of law has a long history but is under siege. Two examples: Vietnam.
Yes.
Where it's a new day is sort of dawning there, where their national bar is working to develop a new professional code of ethics. And Poland, where the judiciary is under attack by the new national government. We issued a statement in October expressing our concerns about the actions taken there, and we are continuing to work with lawyers and judges in Poland to monitor those affairs. So that's how we do it.
Okay, what are the projects or a priority for you this year at the ABA?
One of them is lawyer well-being. In our mind, to be an ethical, competent lawyer, you first need to be a healthy lawyer. The ABA commissioned a study in 2016 with the Hazelton Betty Ford Foundation. It surveyed 13,000 lawyers across the country, and the answers were troubling. We have significant areas where people need help with substance abuse, with depression, with anxiety, and we're continuing to try to work on that to help them. We created a national task force on lawyer well-being, and also launched a campaign this September for illegal employers to sign a pledge to improve lawyer well-being. We want to provide more opportunities for people to assist people who need help, and that means lawyers and semi-retired lawyers to get involved in their communities and get involved in the ABA to assist people in a pro bono in providing pro bono services.
And how can semi-retired lawyers assist in these projects?
Well, they can respond to questions on the ABA hotline with respect to disaster relief questions. They can handle cases in their community. I have a friend in Missoula that's retired a few years ago and now works as an advocate for people who are victims of domestic violence. So there are so many ways that you can help as an up-counsel, semi-retired, or even retired with the education and experience that you got as a lawyer.
And enables you to mentor the generation to come.
That's exactly right. Lead by doing.
Okay. And why should lawyers, including new as well as experienced lawyers, join the ABA?
Well, it's the place to be. It's the National Association for Lawyers. It is the gold standard for how to practice law. We are now making it easier than ever for people to join. Our new membership model includes a wider variety of benefits, including access to more than 5,000 articles, blogs, and podcasts, hundreds of free continuing legal education programs, curated content that is personalized to your individual practice needs, professional help in your specialty area. We mentioned Blueprint earlier, so that provides assistance to small firms and solo practitioners, discounted insurance for you to run not only your business but to protect your life and your family, and it is the place to be. Certainly we want people to be involved in their state and local bars.
And can you just
ABA is the convener.
Okay, and they also cover more areas of law than any local bar possibly could.
Oh, definitely. We cover every legal specialty, essentially.
Okay, and just give us contact information for the ABA.
AmericanBar.org.
Okay, and how does it benefit lawyers to get more involved in both the ABA and their local bar associations?
Well, it benefits them in a number of ways. First of all, you meet people who can help you improve your law practice. You meet people who help you find a niche in the profession and help with getting the education and the backup you need to make sure that you're practicing right. It helps to help you help others, whether it's disaster relief, immigration, fighting for a cause such as judicial independence or the rule of law. It makes you a better lawyer, but it also makes you a better leader. And ultimately, because of the relationships you make being a member of this association, it makes you a better person. What changes do you see in legal education and the bar exam in the years ahead? Well, we've been looking at that, and it's been a topic of conversation in the legal profession for a number of years. And the cost of law school is increasing, student debt is increasing, and we're trying to work on ways to fix that. There's no simple answer to it, but we are actively studying it through a ABA commission on the future of legal education. They've been looking at this for close to a year and a half. The commission includes some of the brightest minds in our profession and in academia, and the chair is Professor Patricia White, who's the dean of the University of Miami Law School.
Okay. And Bob, we just have 30 seconds left. So just tell us what message you have for the general public and lawyers about the image and purpose of lawyers.
Well, I think today, more than ever, people are seeing very clearly how important the rule of law is to sustaining our democracy, and that the rule of law is not vague or irrelevant phrase from 200 years ago. The rule of law doesn't sustain itself. It requires constant attention, and that's the big picture role that the ABA and lawyers bring to this issue. We stand for fairness and due process, not just for those who can afford a lawyer, but for every American. We're trying to make sure that there's adequate funding for the courts and legal aid offices across the country. Many Americans need legal help and don't get it, and we are working every day to help them get it.
Okay, I'd like to thank Bob Carlson, the president of the American Bar Association, for being our guest today on Law You Should Know. If you've missed any part of this program or for podcast on any other of our many shows, you can go to nccradio.org. And also you can welcome to join us next week right here on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, or at nccradio.org for another program on Law You Should Know.